I made Chainsaw Man's arms. And I started with this. That's right, I was just a girl with a cardboard box and a dream. So, how did I get these boring cardboard planks into some badass hedge trimmers? Well, you're about to find out. And the best part about this project is all you need to get started is
a box of scraps!
Yeah. Okay, let's get into it. I started this project off with a giant cardboard box. I also need to get the shape of the arms right, so I'm using the Chainsaw Man pattern from SKS Props. So shout out SKS Props for the badass pattern and tutorial. I will be linking it below because it helped so much. If you don't have a giant cardboard box lying around like I just so happen to have, that's okay. Just tape a bunch of little boxes together. It'll still work. I cut out 6 arm pieces in total, 3 per arm, to give the arms a nice sturdy foundation. Okay, so I got the pattern back out because I need to know where to put the armhole. So there's a line here. I'm just going to trace that onto the first board, making sure I'm lined up on either end. Looks good, and then I'm just going to lift the paper. Straight piece of cardboard. Draw that line all the way down. Hey, there it is. And if you just slide your arm in, this doesn't fit me quite perfectly because it's not for me, but you can see we got our first arm done. Then I quickly traced and cut out the rest of my armholes. Now we're just going to take tape and wrap them together to make sure they're nice and sturdy. Now that the bones of the arms are complete, it's time to make them look a little less like they're made out of cardboard. I decided to cover each side in a thin layer of 2mm EVA foam that I had from an old project. So I traced the arms out, cut them to size. We are securing the foam to the sides of the arms with contact cement. I used my Dremel to smooth out all the edges and then filled in all the cracks with foam clay. If it looks like I did this step first, it's because I did, but I don't think you should, so that's why I'm showing it to you second. Don't be like me, do this part second. Now that all the sanding's done, we have 2 very smooth arms. But buckle up because this is when the insanity really starts to kick in. We now have to make each individual blade. This is the part of the project where I really started to question my sanity. I traced a bunch of chain links onto some scrap 2mm EVA foam and cut them out using scissors. If this looks like it sucked, it's because it did. After I did this excruciating process, I learned that there's a way better and easier way to do this. Just cut strips from the 2mm EVA foam the height you want your chain links to be. Then cut out even little rectangles from that strip. You'll get the same result much quicker and you won't waste foam, so you'll be able to use less scrap foam. It's also a great way to avoid losing your mind, so there's that. Now that I have literally hundreds of chain links, it's time to trace and cut out the blades. Once again, shout out SKS Props for the killer pattern. These were just as horrible as the chain links. Do not get it twisted, but I somehow got through it and only had like 1 or 2 mental breakdowns, so yay. P.S. The blades were cut out of 6mm EVA foam. We have faced some adversity, so these are cutting out, but they are not cutting out the greatest or the easiest. Part of it was my knife was bad. I did go out and buy new knives, and I got a knife sharpener, so like no more bad cuts. But I've already done a chunk of them. Let me show you all this. So that was all done, but let me show you an example, I guess. Really rough around the edges. It's got like a gash here too. Basically, the ones I've cut out are all gonna need to be smoothed out and sanded, which is gonna take an eternity with including the other ones. So kind of just a lot. I got really upset about it last night, freaked out, and then I realized These like interlock, and I didn't have to make such big gaps on the pages like I did here. So I wasted a bunch of space. So I'm actually just gonna stop cutting these out, flip it around, and redraw them closer together on the other side. So that's where we're at. I'm gonna start making them look all like this and then cut them out with my new knife. Hopefully we can make something happen here with this. Obviously, a little disappointed, whatever. So I'm gonna redraw all of these, and once they're redrawn, I'm just gonna cut them out. You don't wanna see me do this, I promise. I'm making an executive decision that I will catch you when everything is cut out for sanding. I'll see you then. For sanding, I give all the chain links a little like divot to give them that rounded in. I gave all the chain links a little divot to make them look like chain links, as shown here. Just watch the footage because I clearly don't know what I'm talking about. Welcome to my channel, everyone. After that, we gave all the blades a nice smooth finish with the Dremel. I also just want to quickly talk about why I used EVA foam for the blades and the chain links instead of like cardboard. Reason number one, this process was horrible enough as it was and tested me just a little bit. Just tested me a little bit. So I didn't want to make it worse by trying to deal with small pieces of cardboard and cutting small details out of cardboard. It's just annoying. So I had foam from my other projects left over. So I figured, all right, this is scraps. Let's make this part a little bit easier and do the blades out of EVA foam, which in turn is going to give it a cleaner look all around. So if you are thinking about making this out of cardboard, I'd still recommend making the blades out of foam. You don't need that much, which is nice if I was able to do it out of scrap foam. So yeah, that's why we're not doing this part out of foam or out of cardboard, because my sanity would not have held on, basically. All right, back to the project. Next, I started the painstaking process of gluing 2 chain links to 1 blade on either side, making tiny little blade sandwiches, if you will. I used crazy glue for this, and it took several hours, as you could probably guess. Once I had a small army of these blade sandwiches, I started gluing them all around the edge of my arm piece. With that final blade lodged in place, we are finally ready to start painting. After a long road of really annoying steps, the paint job is pretty simple. I hit them with Plasti Dip to prime for paint, and then I used Rust-Oleum's Forged Hammer Antique Pewter for a nice metal look. So I am currently working on weathering the arms after the metallic spray paint. So I've got this big old thing of black paint and I've mixed it in water, as you can see. And I'm doing like a black weathered wash. You can see my hands are already insane. So let me show you what I'm doing. So I'm just taking this like flat filbert brush, taking my watered down black, and then I'm spreading that all over. I'm emphasizing getting it into those little cracks, because those didn't really get painted and we want them to be like black and weathered down there. So we're really trying to work this into the details to make everything pop. Once I've got a little section done, go in with the paper towel and wipe it all off. I'm being very gentle around the blades and the gears because we don't want those to come undone or damage them. There you go. That's the first little part done. You can see how it's like way more detailed than like, say, down here. See how it's working its way into the little cracks there, and it's kind of just making it all look all weathered and worn and like it's been used and it's dirty. So now we just gotta do that everywhere. So let's do it. After that first round of weathering, I did go back in with more black and less water and patted that down with a damp paper towel just to make them even dirtier. But now, I think we're ready for some gore. For the gore, I mixed black and red together to get a deep red gory color. I used my fluffy brush and dabbed this everywhere I felt like gore would be from slashing stuff and around my darker spots. I also let the paint clump in certain areas to give it that like clumpy guts and gore feel. I kind of went nuts here, but I also dig how it turned out. Like, a lot. Can you tell how obsessed I am by how many clips I'm adding of it? Finally, to give the gore a little glossy sheen, I used high gloss varnish and brushed that in the really chunky spots to give it that slime and gore feel. And that's it. We're done. I'm currently editing this video, but I realized I didn't film an outro, so I'm gonna do it now. Arms are done, and I
could not be happier that this school year is ending.
Seriously, very happy. Bittersweet though, because it means I have to start making the helmet. So if you want to see that, stay tuned and subscribe. If you want to see another prop video build from me right now, right this second, you don't want to wait for the helmet video, then check out my guts sword build that I did last summer. Thank you so much for watching. Peace out.